Ladies and gentlemen, hey, hi, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for stopping by. Within the general Warzone meta right now, there's obviously a lot of really solid options up towards the top, like in the top tier absolute meta categories that we'd have. You got a lot of really solid options. There are a few standouts though in this game right now that for one reason or another are downright overpowered in the right hands. These are weapons that are unmatched in their capabilities if you know what you're doing with them. And today we're breaking down 5 of the most OP weapons and loadouts you want to be using, starting first with one that you might not even realize is this good, the Tempus Torrent from, yes, MW2. It's not often MW2 weapons can be called meta or even overpowered for that matter, but this is one that's got a TTK that is absolutely nuts. Its first damage range is outclassing pretty much everything in the game. Now, in order to actually get that TTK, you have to be extremely accurate, as this is a semi-auto gun. So it's got a higher skill gap to sort of keep it in check, but there's no denying that if you can land 3, 4, 5 shots consistently with this thing, you are going to just absolutely obliterate anyone standing in your sights, right? So as far as the general setup here goes, first and foremost, going for the Eagle Eye 2.5 times optic. This is what works well for me, and I'm very comfortable with this on semi-auto guns. If you like to use, you know, an AW Gen 1, if you like to use a Slate, a Nidar, something like that, always go for the optic you are the most comfortable with ultimately. I also go for the 50 round drum on here as well. More ammo the merrier. You want to spam this, you have all the ammo to do so, right? I go for the high grain ammo on here as well, just to extend that effective damage range out some, to also help out with that better velocity and get that hit scan range out to a further distance as well. Then I got Bruin heavy support. We all know this is a super clutch option for any semi-auto gun in the game. And not only when you're spamming are you gonna get better control with it, but also the better firing aim stability and aiming idle sway. That's gonna make things better as well. Then I go for the Spirit Fire suppressor, better range, better velocity, better control, keeping me off the map as well. So this thing is a sleeper weapon for sure. Not many players know its true potential, but if you know what you're doing with this thing, it can be absolutely insane. Next up here, we've got the Core 45 using the conversion kit, or the aftermarket part for it that turns it into a binary trigger, essentially what is like a 2-round burst pistol. This thing's TTK rivals a lot of the top tier close range options in terms of the best SMGs in the game, but it obviously functions as a pistol. So it's got the movement capabilities. You can use this underwater and still keep that insane TTK. Incredibly versatile and offers for a different style of gameplay across the board, while also maintaining a ridiculously fast TTK as well. So here, obviously, we are going for the conversion kit that allows that binary trigger and gives you that better fire rate. I go for the 40 round extended mag here. This is the max. Again, why not go all in? The more ammo, the merrier in this case, so you don't have to worry about ever running out while you're spraying and praying by any means. I also go for the dynamic precision stock that you get through the aftermarket part. Just makes this thing a lot easier to control when you are spamming that trigger. I found myself to be a lot more accurate with a sight, so I go for the Nidar model 2023. And then just to keep things easy, again, I like the Zem 35, some better control, slight cons to the ADS and the velocity, but for the most part, it's going to make this weapon very, very manageable. And if we head into the firing range, you can see when I click once, it shoots once when I press down, shoots again when I let off, meaning when I spam, you can start to shoot this thing crazy fast. And that means for close range fights, you're gonna be able to just put a lot of ammo, a lot of shots into enemies very quickly, and also take them out very quickly because of how good the TTK is with this thing. By the way, as we are breaking down all the weapons and loadouts here today, if you're new to the channel or if you have not subscribed yet, every single day I got you covered with news, patch notes, meta breakdowns, everything going on in COD is right here. So feel free to hit that subscribe button and join us on the road to 1 million. And if you guys enjoyed this video, do me a favor and drop a like on it. Much love to everyone who does take the time to do so. Next up, we've got another definition of an incredibly overpowered weapon for one specific reason, and that is its hit scan value. We've talked about this one several times, and they still have not updated this thing. The MCW 6.8 Marksman, built all out for hit scan and better velocity, is insane. It's got the highest velocity in the game, and we know now because of the testing that Ace and True Game Data did, the higher your velocity number, the better the gun is going to feel over range. This thing's got like a 100-meter hit scan range. It is so insane, because when you stack all these attachments, you can see our velocity ends up being over 2,000, which is absolutely absurd. Now, this loadout is not optimized for general use on the MCW 6.8. We are only focusing on the velocity number, but it's crazy that it can actually get this high. So I do go for the Nil Sound 90 suppressor, simply because it's going to give you the most velocity out of the compensators and the muzzles here. I also go for the Predator Precision Barrel. Better range, better velocity on here, just straight up 27% increase there. For whatever reason, the most important part of this setup is the Spire Point rounds, which kind of function as like high grain or high velo would, but on the MCW, they give you a 50% increase to your velocity, which is why we're able to get this up over 1400, 1500, as opposed to other weapons all the way up to over 2000. So this, for whatever reason, is just crazy on the MCW. I also go for the 60 round extended mag. There's still a bug going on where sometimes this just doesn't load in. I don't know why that is, and it happens at random. It is what it is, though. If you can get the 60 round mag, though, as opposed to the other marksmans that only have 15, 20, 30 round mags, this is a huge advantage to have. Then again, 2.5 times Eagle Eye Optic, just my preferred scope over range for accuracy there. This is definitely a very unique weapon in the fact that it's pretty much the only one that can do this, but definitely overpowered in the right hands. You can just laser players from so far away with this thing. And then following that, we've got the Core 45. Again, and it's in an entirely different fashion. This time it's not with the conversion kit. Yes, the core is this versatile. This time we're focusing on the most broken Core 45 TTK setup. Now, this was actually nerfed a few days back. They adjusted the fire rate capabilities of the core in general, but with this setup, it still has the best close range TTK essentially if you can spam this trigger quickly. And with this, the main focus is going to be this lightning fire trigger. This ups the fire rate by 78%, which is a huge increase, allowing you to spam like crazy. So when you are going crazy and firing this gun as fast as you can, you want to have all the ammo you possibly could get. So we go for the 40 round drum in this case. Because we're not using an aftermarket part, we are a little bit more limited on our attachments. There's only one stock here, but I really like the fact that it does give you way better control. It's got some decent cons, but that control benefit is going to help out a ton when you are spamming this quickly. Zem 35 compensator, I'm still keeping on here as well. And then I kind of like using the long barrel on this in specific. It helps out the range, the velocity, the control some, just makes it a tad bit easier to use and a little bit more versatile. You could also swap out the barrel for an optic. You don't get as many options here, but something like a slate would work well. But you can see that with this lightning fire trigger on here, when you really focus on just spamming it as fast as you can, I mean, you can get that fire rate up there for a pistol. You can burn through 40 rounds relatively quickly here. And if you go all in on fire rate and just go as fast as you can, it's going to be consistent, not as broken as it was before. And like, even if you're using a scroll wheel macro, you're not going to be able to get it to absurd numbers, but you can get this fast enough that if you're accurate and really good with semi-auto guns, this thing is going to put players down just at another level. Hey folks, briefly want to chat about my friends over at Gamer Advantage. Of course, GA is no stranger to the channel here. Every single face cam video, you guys see me rocking my Horizon frames. These things are game changers. I've said it before, I'll say it again. There's no more important thing at my setup here, the computers, the monitors, the controllers, than these glasses, because these allow me to do what I do best day in and day out. If you're looking at screens for long periods of time, whether you're working, doing school, gaming, whatever it may be, you got to get yourself a pair of GA frames. They offer prescription and regular lenses. They've got a bunch of different colorways and frames, so a little bit of something for everyone there. And when it comes to sleeping better at night, reducing eye strain, these things are phenomenal. Best of all, if you want to throw in code IMMORTAL at checkout, you end up getting yourself a nice little discount as well. The link for that will be down in the description below if you're interested. And then lastly, here we have another weapon that I don't think too many players realize is as crazy as it is, but it is the tier pistol with the aftermarket part on this to basically turn it into a marksman style weapon that can be used really effectively in the mid-range and closer, almost as like an extended shotgun in a way. This has the potential to two-shot knock if you're hitting upper body shots consistently. It's got a decent fire rate and it's especially unique as well. Again, this is a weapon and a build that does require a bit more skill and expertise in semi-auto or slower fire rate weapons and staying consistent with your accuracy over time. But if you can do that and you can use this as like a shotgun style ADS hybrid weapon, you're gonna find a lot of success with this thing. It's pretty crazy. So the overall build, it's a little bit awkward because of what is limited by using this beholder kit, but obviously you get much better range and velocity out of this, even better control as well, as it turns into like this shotgun sort of marksman style, very similar to the Outlaw almost from Blackout and Black Ops 4. I do go for the Euler's Fury trigger on here. It's the better fire rate, so you can just get your shots off a little bit faster back to back. I don't like the irons on this thing, and when you're fighting at 20, 30 meters, you want to be accurate, so I go for the reflector sight. Use whatever scope you are the most comfortable with here. I also go for the Kimura vertical grip. There's a handful of good options here. Really, I like to focus on the vertical control here. That's what seems to have the most bounce and the most impact. So if you can minimize that some with minimal cons, that's going to be a good option. Hurting the horizontal doesn't really matter too much here. So this actually ends up being a really beneficial underbarrel for that. And then I just went with the Tempus GH50 muzzle. There's not a lot of great options here. This is one that's going to slow down your ADS speed a decent amount, which is unfortunate, but it's going to give you a lot of vertical control. There are some other other decent ones in here too. The T51R is really good for vertical control, but it's going to hurt your range some. Match compensators, same deal there. So kind of just a pick your poison scenario. For me, I don't feel a need to run something like a laser or, you know, ammo, but that would be an option as well. If you wanted a really snappy ADS, you could go for like a Kimura laser or something like that, whatever's going to end up helping out in this case. So it would be the KRHX actually for the better ADS and sprint to fire. Something like that would be viable too. Kind of just depends on how comfortable you are with the gun. But yeah, 2 to 3 shot kill potential is pretty crazy with this thing with a decent fire rate. So that being said, those are 5 of the most overpowered and maybe some surprising options here within the Warzone meta right now. And that's going to wrap things up. If you enjoyed the video, do me a favor, drop a like on it. And if you're new to the channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button on your way out to guarantee you are always up to date with everything going on in COD. But once again, thank you so much for tuning in. And until next time, take it easy, have an awesome rest of your day, and I'll catch you later. Peace out.